Hello and welcome to another episode of NRG Insights. Apologies firstly for my voice. I've lost it over Christmas and I was struggling to get it back. But for those that don't know, NRG Insights is a podcast based around the mortgage and financial services industry, where we speak to influential people on the market, whether that be from lending, broking, or ancillary products into the market to as it suggests, is to give a little insight into what they're doing and how they're being successful, or the challenges they're facing. So on that, I have Rebecca Lewis, for Group Director of Affinity. Love to meet you, Rebecca.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Good to meet you. I've seen you lots of times. Meet you with, say, lovely to see you. So talk to me, for those that don't know you and don't know the business, etc. Talk to me about like your financial services journey to where you are now.
So I've been in financial services coming on 12 years this year. So pretty much my whole career. I don't know anybody that left school, college and said, you know what, I really want to be in financial services. And that definitely was true of me. I went to college, did an A-level, sort of left college, didn't want to go to uni. I was adamant on that. I was like, I don't want to go to uni. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I sort of took a year off, and my parents were, by the end of it, they were like, you need to do something because you're costing us a fortune. We're paying for your life. You're having the best time ever, but you don't have a job. And I was like, yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah. So then I obviously found a role at Affinity, was given a role at Affinity. So, and I started as, I didn't know anything about financial services, not one thing. Like I knew roughly what a mortgage was, but I didn't know how the process worked and how it played into, we'll go and get a mortgage. So I started as what I can only describe nowadays, we call it like an apprentice. So I was sort of in there, started at the bottom.
Making tea.
Oh, I made so many. Do you know what? I will say though, I do make a great cup of tea, and I think I've probably got those 4.5 years of tea making slang for that. So that's fine. I'll take that with me forever. It's a harness skill now. So I did that, and I sort of started very much on the administration side of the business, dealing with sort of getting completions done and speaking to solicitors. That was probably first year and a half of my journey at Affinity, just purely in that admin function and that role. And that really allowed me to understand the process, how it works, how...
I was going to stop there, and sorry for jumping in, but do you think that makes a massive difference? Because every successful, well, not every, that's not true, lots and lots of successful people I speak to have gone through that rigmarole of like learning the process. But now, one, because it gives you empathy for people that are doing it now, but two, like you understand why things happen, right? You're not just starting off and saying.
I think a strong foundation is the most important thing. And I also think what it does is, like, I'm the sort of person that I wouldn't feel empowered to do something if I didn't have the knowledge behind it to back up what I was trying to do. So for me, I think it's invaluable having started there and understanding how the process works to begin with, because I don't think, you leave school, they don't get taught a load about it at school around, financial services and looking after your money and keeping your credit score good. Like all that stuff doesn't really get taught to you. So I found that definitely first year and a half really invaluable, because I was just allowed to sort of immerse myself and actually understand it and understand the business and the pinch points and how stressful it was. Obviously I didn't have a mortgage. I was 18 years old and I was like, people get really emotional about this. It's just a mortgage. And as you obviously go on, you're like, I totally get it, because it's not any level of property finance is transitioning someone from where they are to someone new, and people get so emotionally invested in it. And it was at 18 years old, I was thinking, well, I don't know if I can do this. Because I was like, I don't so strict.
How do you think that fares as well in the new generation? Like, we're not the same generation, but there is like an element of, like, only because I say it's a lot, like you have to knuckle down and do a few years. And we are in a short-term gratification generation of people going, I want to be MD. There'll be people watching you on social media going, I want that. And actually what they don't see is the graft you get in the background. Is it hard? Now you probably see it from like the wider business as well, like taking on new people. How is it?
I think I am a big believer that I think anything good never comes quickly. And if you're looking for quick wins, I mean, listen, some people in life do it, like certainly with the social media realm of how the world works. Now some people go, yeah, I've smashed it, I've done it. But I think certainly in the industry that we're in, for me, knowledge is power. Like the more knowledge you've got, the more power you've got within your role, the way you apply yourself and how you can execute what you need to execute. That doesn't come, for me personally, without knowledge. And I also think it's really important to have people around you that can help you grow into that. Like I definitely had that when I first started, and I was given the space to be able to take my time to learn, but also be empowered to go, you absolutely can do this. And I think that is really important as well, to be able to help people to get get to that next stage by empowering them to know that they've got the ability to be able to do it, and they're gonna make mistakes. That is, I have made so many mistakes, and I've just been on like, oh my goodness.
Mate, I was looking to CEOs of banks now who still say like, I'll make mistakes every week. And you think it was quite refreshing.
And you know,
because you think we get better at it.
they do. And I always say to the team, I should never be embarrassed about it, because you know what? You will always learn from your mistakes. And I've made so many mistakes, but what I've always made a point of is learning from them and not making them again. But you can't learn from them if you don't make them. So we very much at like certainly.
It does sound a bit cheesy, doesn't it? You know, when we say like, oh, you know, you only grow when you're losing, or you learn from your mistakes, that kind of thing. But it's true. It's really hard to learn when you're winning, because I'm fucking brilliant because everything's done right. You know what I mean? There's no learning, but you don't stop doing and go, what made that good? What made that bad? But when you cock something up, you're like, right, okay, let's reset that and work out what I've done wrong.
And I think like that's been something that's been really important for me as I've grown through the business, and obviously where I sit now, like I have a position where I am responsible for various amount of people, and it's always been for me really important to harness that message of like, you will make mistakes and that's absolutely okay, and please always know that you can come to us if you've made a mistake or you need help or you need a bit of guidance, because that's how people grow. And that's how they become empowered to then get to the next step of their career. So I definitely think those early years, being in a place where you've got that support and you've got that ability to grow is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did interrupt you in your mid journey, so we've only got 4 years in. But
well,
you kind of moved it from that. Oh, you started from resi, didn't you? And now you're very much commercial specialist, private banking. Talk to me about that transition and how that was for you.
So it was, again, I'd love to say it was all mapped out, and it was really, really like easy. It really wasn't. I spent, so obviously that was sort of my first couple of years. I spent the next, I'd say, 7, 8 years sitting in all different parts of our business, because I joined the business when there was like 6 people. So we were a tiny business, and obviously we did mortgages and we did protection, and that was it. And then as the business has grown, I found myself sitting within various different departments. So I actually sat in the mortgage department. I then sat in protection for a bit. Then I've obviously transitioned over to sitting within the specialist finance world. But I thoroughly enjoyed my time in all of them, because again, it gives you a really good overview now with the job that I do now, where I sit, I'm like, I can understand that because I did 2 years in that department, and I can understand what works, what doesn't. So that was really helpful. The honest answer is I find specialist finance the most exciting bit. Like we've got an amazing team of brokers.
Yeah.
But
I was saying the specialist finance is the coolest part of the market, as much as we don't really like it. It's fun, isn't it?
It is.
I think for me, I love it because it's not emotionally attached. It's still emotionally attached, but it's not like Doris's mortgage where you got to save her a quid. It's like, and that's no offense to the resi, you are doing something really great, but it's like if you're a business person, then it's I make money, you make money, he makes money, we all do it, and it works. You know, it's much more collaborative than it is maybe with resi. When I just need to save you that pounds per month.
Yeah, and it is, and it's very much more so relationship driven. I find like the clients that we work for on the specialist side of the business, we have great relationships with, because it is very much a relationship driven thing. Like they don't need to work with us. Like everybody needs a mortgage, so they do need a mortgage broker man Saturday, because they'll get them quick, but they don't need to work with us. These guys could probably there or thereabouts source this finance.
Muddle through.
Yeah, they can though. Like you're dealing with really smart people. It's not like you're dealing with, and that's no slight on the average person getting involved.
No, but it's financially sophisticated. That's what they're doing.
It's the level of sophistication that you deal with. So I loved it. And to be quite frank, I made that transition probably, we're 2026 now, like back end of 2024. So I haven't even really been sat solely in that side of the business forever.
What's really funny is I would always assume, I've known you for a while, but I would always assume it was before that.
Yeah, no.
It's funny. You're the people are in. You're like, you've always known them in there.
Yeah, I dabbled. Maybe 2024, but I dabbled. But I would say like fully everything over to that side was probably been back end of 2024. But I just love it. And for right, for wrong, but even the deadlines and the pressure, there's probably something wrong with it, but that makes me tick. I'm like, right, I've got to keep focused. That's what drives me, and I love it. And piecing the deals together, and it's so cool, right? It's amazing what you can do with.
And also, it's the learning aspect as well, isn't it? Right? I don't think anyone knows every part of structured finance. Like, if you're speaking to a client and he's holistically loads of different things, and like you say, as opposed to someone's mortgage, if they're like, this is the outcome, how do we get there?
Yeah.
That's just way more interesting, and it's, and obviously you're always learning.
And no 2 days are the same. Like with
Yeah.
with obviously your standard mortgages, generally like you've got a pattern. You go on substances soon, you find the cheapest rate, you submit for the client, lovely. Whereas we could have
Yeah.
a client come to us saying, "Oh, I want to fund a plane, or I want to fund a yacht," or and
Yeah.
then I've got a client saying, "I want a bridge to refurb a bungalow," and then you've got someone saying, "I want to build 200 houses and put a land," and you think it's just so broad and diverse, and that's what I
Yeah.
love.
Yeah.
Is and it always gets your brain system to just think, how are we going to
Yeah.
structure that? How's that gonna,
Yeah.
how's that gonna work?
It also means it's not easy as well, right? I think that's another important
Yeah.
point to say, is that everyone wants to do commercial because they see, like, if you're a resi person, you speak to the lawyers and they'll be going, you should see what these guys do in commercial when the
Lucrative, yeah.
property's coming through. But actually, loads falls out. It's fucking hard graft. You've got to go and find, like, you are dealing with a sophisticated client and product. Like, there's so much more, so much more convoluted than you make more money.
Yeah, it is, and I think as well, again, like it is having the knowledge and the skill to be able to execute it properly. Because as you say, you could go, oh, I can deal with commercial finance, or I can deal with bridging. But like we always say, bridging is like the Wild West. There's so many bridges in the market now, and if you haven't got the knowledge to know like where that client's going to fit,
Deliver, right? That's the most important
they
thing.
could very easily end up with the wrong bridger. I'd have sleepless nights. Like it's just not the way it works. But you have to have that knowledge to be able to
Yeah.
place people in the the place that's best for them.
That's a question for you, actually, on the knowledge side of things, right? Because there are 240 bridging lenders. So that's nuts. That's way too many. I was talking to someone earlier on about the need for mergers and acquisitions in that space, just because there's so much money to go out there. Everyone's fighting over the same five pools of money.
Yeah.
Everyone delivers differently. But how do you, like, pick your panel? I know it's not a panel as such, but how do you go look at, obviously deliverability, it goes without saying, but
Yeah.
what are you looking for your clients that most important? Like, because you're not going to 240 people and getting a quote.
Imagine I'd have no time left in the day if I was going to 240. I'd never finish.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh,
You're doing one lead every month.
literally. I think I think for us it's very much again a relationship piece, because one thing that we find really important for the clients we deal with is we need to deliver for those clients, and we need to deliver for them in the easiest and smoothest way possible. So we generally, it depends on the client profile as well. Some clients are driven by the rate. Some clients need, 80% net day one. Obviously, then that drives where you're going for with regards to their specific requirements. But if you get a client that doesn't have any particular niches that they need to go to a specific lender for, we generally tend to go based on relationships, because I've got a client at the end of it that we're saying we're going to deliver on this for you. And especially if it's time sensitive, we have a few clients that come to us and say, this is what I need. Can you get me the best terms? And we can deliver them the best terms. But at the same time, we can say, if you want this done in 2 weeks, I can't tell you that cheapest rate is going to get you there, because it may well not.
Yeah.
These guys.
Well, as well. There's no, like, it is cheapest rate in resi, isn't it? But with commercial, it's like, look, do you want this deal done by someone I know can do it? Because no one is really looking at the bips, are they? And going, well, that guy, that's because there's only one cheapest. Out of 240, there is one person who's cheapest. Everyone else has to have something. And it's about getting the job done there.
It is, and I think as well, it sometimes is a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if you go for the cheapest rate but you miss your deadline, it's none of what it's pointless. Because actually, that product that was maybe 3 bits more expensive, you've actually lost that by missing your deadline. So
He missed exit fees and
it's just not worth it. So for us, it's definitely relationship driven, and we're fortunate to work, with some great lenders that we know that if we say to them, this is what we need and we need it done by this day, they will do everything within their power to get it done. But that comes with knowledge and time as well, right? These relationships take time to build.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the relationship side of things, client-wise. So, obviously, building up the relationships with the lenders is something that's really important. But how did you? Because you were a resi business to begin with, right? That was a crux of your business. How did it morph into that private client side? I mean, obviously, there's going to be some organic stuff, but when was the decision made, and you went, right, this is how we get these leads? Because there are people going into commercial that don't really understand how you get business, because you're not sat at your desk every day, are you?
No,
it's not like
I'm definitely not sat on my desk every day. But so we sort of had a point where we had a client that we couldn't find a home for. It was a really complex situation. They were doing really well, but they didn't have 2 years accounts to show how well they were doing, and they wanted to buy this big house because it was a startup business. They'd gone from like 0 to millions of turnover in 9 months, which is obviously really rare but unbelievable. And they were like, well, we've got all this cash and we want to buy a house. We couldn't find a home for them on the high street. It doesn't work. That prompted us to go, and Rick, who I worked with at the time, was in a private bank, working at a private bank, and we were like, would you maybe look at like under something like this? And he was like, yeah, that's a lot. We love to do that. That's exactly what we do. So we took that client over there, and they facilitated a home for the client. They bought the house. Everyone was happy. And then we're thinking, we're missing a trick here, because there's clients out there that can't find solutions, and at the moment we're not looking for these clients because we don't think we have the solution. But actually,
high net worth clients, aren't they? Have they got money to spend? You just can't find a home for them on the high street.
Can't find a home for them, and it's crazy because they're stature-wise they've got it all right, but they can't give you a tax return necessary too that said earn 100 grand, and you're like, I'm sorry, we can't find your home on the high street. But that was sort of where it was born from. And then it took us about 2 years to try and entice Rick out of the bank, because he was like, no, I really enjoy this job. I'm really, it's lovely, I like it. So it took us 2 years, and then he came on board, and we were like,
how hard is it to get people out of banking when they're used to their 15% pension contributions?
It's
and they're
very safe as well, isn't it?
Yeah, we make more money.
Yeah, but it's that jump. It's taking that risk of going over to. Rick always says they took me away from banking and brought me to the dark side of broking, and I was like, whoa.
Because it doesn't matter what side you're on, the other side's the dark side. That's how I always play. Obviously, I play both sides.
So that was sort of the point, and then he came over, and that's really where our specialist proposition started to sort of build and get some legs. And it takes time, right? I think people think, oh, because it's like really high ticket, just tell your clients that you're doing it, and these clients will naturally gravitate to you, and they don't. Like
most clients have got no other advisors, have they? They're born in a world where they've got nothing.
Literally.
And
you go and
they've got advisors, they've got people there.
You go and try and find these clients, and it's like a lot of them will have a broker, or they maybe haven't got a broker, but equally they're doing it on their own, and you've got to have, like, what was that, 2017 Rick joined, so we're coming on him being here 10 years, and now we've got really good traction, and we've got really great band clients, but it just takes time. And I think that's where people see specialist finance and the revenue, and they're like, I'm going to go and do that because that is going to be, I'm going to earn loads of money. And it's
quick win.
But I have learned in my career in this industry, nothing is a quick win. And if people go into it thinking I'm going to get a quick win, they're going to be very, very sorely disappointed.
I like that, the fact that these quick wins take 10 years to do.
Literally.
Like overnight success stuff, isn't it? Like within 10 years, I was an overnight success. You know, when everyone's heard of you now and is doing well, they're like, oh, you came out of nowhere. You're like, well, I've gone after it for a long time, actually.
Yeah, you didn't see it. Because people don't, that's not glamorous, right? People don't want to hear about the stuff that didn't work or the mistakes or you can't get there. They just want it. They see it.
Out of the tube late at night, going home from another deal that doesn't work. Yeah. It's not fun, is it? It's not a cool bit of my job.
And I think that's a very real thing. Like, whilst it is far more lucrative on the specialist side, there's far less deals. Like, you know, not everyone needs a mortgage. Not everyone needs a bridging loan. Not everyone wants to develop houses. Like, and they are so much harder to get over the line. And you do have to, you build yourself up to have this level of resilience, because you're out doing it, trying to find people, find the clients. And sometimes it just doesn't work, and you have to just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and go, right, go again. Like, it's a very different world.
Well, I
suppose.
I was going to touch on that as well, just about that kind of. I know you've mentioned resilience, which is number one, I think, in any of our industries. But what are the kind of the traits that you think, like, set people that can do it for a long time, not even like super successful, just people that can stay in this game a long time? What are those traits that people need, do you think?
They're definitely resilient. I think organisation is, for me, like, I couldn't do what I do unless I was organising my week and disciplined in what that week looks like.
Or if you've got a good admin, just saying that. On a
or if you've got good admin.
You have to be organised. You can have a good administrator.
Yeah, or do you know what I mean? Organised. If you're not necessarily naturally organised, then to have that support around you, as you say, that can mean that you can turn up with the best organised version of yourself.
Make sure the organisation happens.
Somewhere. And that's not down to me, but however it happens, it's got to happen somewhere. I also think you've got to be, in my opinion, you've got to be tenacious. Like, there's a lot that you have to sift through, and there's a lot of, you can get pushed back. You can, you don't always get the nicest people. Like, you have to be tenacious, and you have to.
You're also speaking to people who are going through some tough times as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, they're not everyone's at their best every time they speak to you. No. I always say this, like, no one calls me when they're happy. No. So you're always in an interesting time.
it's very important to recognize that. Like for me, I did a post this week on LinkedIn around like, please don't ever think business is only ever see the best of everything with people. So social media, certainly, you only ever see the best of what people have got to say. But equally, it is such a journey with everything. So you have to be resilient. You have to be tenacious, because even when you're knocked down, you've got to keep going. That's my thing. I'm like, you've got to be driven. You've got, I'm fortunate. I love what I do. So it doesn't, I don't need to find that drive, because I just love it.
It does sound like bullshit, right, to people, don't it? But it's such a blessing if you love what you do, because it's so much easier.
It is.
It's nice. Like, even the hard bits aren't too bad, because you're like, you know, I'm good at it and I love it.
Yeah. And it makes those, you know, when you're sitting at your laptop at 9 o'clock at night, you go, it's all right. It doesn't feel like a chore because you love it. But I definitely think drive, definitely. You've got to be resilient. You've got to be tenacious, and you've also got to know a little bit what you want. Like, what is your path? Where do you want to get to? Because I'm not saying that always you go, I'm going to go from here to here, and it's going to be really straightforward.
Yeah.
Great.
You have something to aim at.
Literally, but you've got an idea of where you want to go, and that's empowering in itself, because then what you can start doing is giving yourself some tangible outcomes and some goals and some objectives. So then you can actually, you've got to test and measure a little bit, I think, as well. So you've got a bit of accountability to understand if what you're doing is working for you, for your business. Like it's really boring stuff. And for years I was like, no, I don't need that. Like, it's fine. We'll just keep going and it'll be fine. But you actually do need structure and discipline and tangible outcomes to know that what you're doing is actually pushing you towards that next thing and where you want to go.
The discipline side of it's huge, isn't it? To just not, because otherwise you can work for 10 hours and do fuck all. It's really easy to be a busy idiot, and there's so much to do that you could do nothing. That discipline of actually, I know mine's like that. I'm a shiny penny syndrome thing. You know, I see something and I'm off.
Yeah.
And actually, and I'm never going to, my mind's never going to change, but I can be more disciplined. So there is that level. You don't have to, you have to change who you are, but you do have to learn, like, look, if you don't do this, the outcome won't be what you want. And but it's all born in it.
It's really hard. Like, and I find for me, what I try to do throughout my day, as you say, you can spend 10 hours at your laptop, but if you're doing nothing that's really productive, or you're flitting from one thing to another, you're not going to get the outcome you want. So I actually find what's really helpful for me is I'll block out like 90-minute blocks where I'll be like, do you know what, I'm going to just be focusing on X, Y, Z, and then throughout my day, and then I'll take a break after that. But I find that I can then laser focus in on what I need to do to get it done to a really good level, because we are a reactive business, right? So believe me, now if my phone's ringing in a minute, I'm like, oh, that could be a client, they might want a bridge.
Yeah, but you know there's 20 missed calls on there and you're done now.
But equally, if you don't discipline yourself to, you know, within your working day, then that you can very easily get sidetracked. And as you say, 10 hours.
That's really interesting with that, with the time chunking, sorry. With the time chunking, it's something that I do, and I'm going to nail it for the whole year, and we're third week of Jan. If I look at my diary today, there's nothing time chunking. But I had the best intentions at the beginning, because it's amazing how you do it. Look, I am better at sprinting, having a break, sprinting, and plodding. But if you just, it's really easy to get into a plod when it's not structured. But I'm a nightmare for it. People might resonate with it as well. But I just, at the beginning of the year, I'm like time chunk every day, done. I know it like now, 23rd of Jan. I'm like, what? It's bloody gone again. It's
you know what as well? I think everybody's just got different skill sets, and some things come really naturally to some people. Like, I work in an office. I've got Rick and I've got Damien. They will not mind me saying this, and I love both of them so dearly. But equally, neither of them the organisation doesn't come naturally to them. So they be like, they really have to apply themselves. As you just said, like, you have all been intentional. Like, I'm going to do that, and it's going to be great.
Oh yeah.
But it's just
that was the thing where I thought about it in the morning. I'd nail it. It's just doing it.
Yeah, but you had the intention. That's where you've got to start. And then
I know what to do. And also, like I'm saying, it's hard because 50% of my job I adore, speaking to clients, speaking to customers, making a difference. The admin bit is not, well, it is urgent because I do know the profits in the data, etc. You got to do it. But for me, like mentally, it just takes away from the thing I'm really good at.
Yeah.
So it's easy, but that's an excuse at the same time. Because I know I wouldn't make anywhere near as much if I didn't follow the discipline of doing all the shit that goes with it.
It's the sum of the parts. That's the hardest thing I think with any business. It's like, don't get me wrong, there's not everything I do in our business that I think, oh, I'm great at that. There's some things that I think, ironically, I really don't love numbers. which is brilliant considering I'm in financial services and I deal with numbers every day. But like,
I'd love to say that's a surprise, but the maths tests for most BDMs would be
oh,
valid.
do you know what though? But it just doesn't come. It's not something that comes naturally to me. But there's other
Oh, we've
things.
got these.
Huh?
So we've all got these calculators on here.
Yeah,
We don't need these bloody.
and that's it. So I'm like, it doesn't come natural to me, but I can do it. But I have to apply myself to be able to. Like, if I'm looking at profit and loss and departmental costs, I have to take my 90 minutes thinking, but I've got to spend these whole 90 minutes thinking about this because it's a lot.
But you can organise the rest of your day where someone else can bang out the numbers and forget it because they've gone off and done something else.
Yeah,
So
that is true.
So we talked about this before about broaching the women in finance, and I'm not best placed to talk about it because obviously I'm not a woman in finance, but I do talk about it a lot with people because it is interesting. But I do like your take as well because we have talked about it off air. But like, has it ever been? It is still a male-oriented environment, isn't it? And you are always going to come across knobheads. There's nothing you can do about it. But how's it been for you, like working your way up through the financial services journey? Like, you know, as a woman, there have been like the misconceptions of you and that kind of thing. Because you're fucking good at what you do, aren't you? But you know, it's easy for stupid people to not follow that. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to be
I get it. I think for me, like, obviously I've been in this industry for 12 years now, and I have seen a change in it for the better. Definitely when you go to, you know, industry events, there's definitely more of a balance now than there ever was. To be perfectly honest with you, in my 12 years, I think it's really actually important where you are, like which firm you're with, because I think that can have a huge impact on how you see the male-dominated industry, how it affects you. I've always been in with Affinity in an industry where in a workplace whereby you're always empowered, whether you're a man or woman, whatever, it doesn't matter. You're empowered to go and be the best version that you possibly can be. So then that has always given me the inner confidence and self-esteem to be like, it doesn't matter if I'm walking into a room with 100 men. Like, I know I'm good at what I do, and I know that I can deliver on what I say I deliver on.
Do you think that's what it is? Do you think it's the same for everyone, but it's just how much you see? Do you know what I mean? Like how much you take in? Because you come from it like, I don't give a shit. It's never bothered me. It's never been a thing.
Yeah.
Then it never becomes a thing. Do you know what I mean? And if you're conscious of it, then it is more.
I totally agree. And that is definitely for me, like, it's never bothered me. I've never directly been affected by it. Everyone I've always dealt with has been lovely. Like, I honestly feel as if there are, you know, I think that there are certain benefits to being a woman in this industry because I think it's almost a bit of a superpower because you're in an industry full of less women, definitely more men.
Blue suited gilet wearers.
Literally, I will not be wearing a gilet at any time. And if I do, please say to me.
Oh, I was going to get an NRG gilet ready for nothing. I don't want.
I think I find it really empowering because I'm like, I definitely think we always say, actually, when you look at the makeup of a woman, you know, the organisation, the empathy, all of that stuff, women make amazing brokers, they make amazing managers. And I think I think it's a bit of a superpower. I always think it's a positive.
I agree certainly on the traits. I would say, like, number one, that it is a female trait, and then it's great to have it if you're male, but empathy comes naturally. Yeah. And I know people think, I don't know if that's sexist or not, but it's just a fact that there's more female nurses, and the reason for that is because they're more empathetic. But empathy in our industry is especially because, like we said earlier on, people aren't coming to you because they're happy. People are coming to you because there's a lot going on. And I think if you can be business minded and not be a dick about it, is more of a female trait. And I think that is why you do get really good brokers and really good BDMs and really good women in finance, because you don't have to learn the bit that we're desperately trying to learn. Yeah, it's true though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't come naturally. I won't try and learn it. If it comes naturally to you, then, because sales is sales, right? No one's fucking doing the 80s pitch at anyone anymore. No. It's about what you like. But the other side, the actual traits, the character traits that people like is like, oh, actually, you do give a shit. Like, that does mean something to people.
Yeah, and I think that's so important.
Falls in the blues.
It's so important. And I think I'm probably a little bit too invested with my clients because I'm like, we're getting this over the line. And some lawyers now probably see me call and they think I'm not picking up the phone to her because she's just ringing me 8 times a day until we get this done. But I take it so personally because I am so hell-bent on delivering. If we tell someone we're going to do something, we deliver on that. And okay, some of it may be out of our control, but the stuff that's within our control, we have to do everything within our power to get there. But like I said, I've been super fortunate. I've only ever come across, like, I've only ever found this industry respectful. I've never felt, you know, like I'm.
And like you say, like how you frame something when you go walk into a room. You know, I think that's quite interesting. Not that it doesn't happen, by the way. That's not. I'm not
No,
putting it in house to other people.
I
I'm just
totally
saying
agree.
that when you reframe something as like, yeah, this is like a power move for me, then that's how you feel.
Yeah. And that emulates, right? Like, if you're giving off those sort of vibes, then I think naturally the
Yeah.
reaction you're going to get back is going to be different to that of, like, if you weren't
Yeah, yeah,
necessarily giving off those vibes. So that
yeah. That does make
I've got
sense.
no complaints.
Yeah, good. And so on that again, on the because obviously you were very blessed, like you said before, about the people around you.
Yeah.
Have you looked at that as like your where you go next in regards to like mentoring and helping people come into the industry and that kind of thing? Has that been important to you? Is it something you're looking at? Obviously, you're deeply entrenched in what you do at the moment, right? And you're like, this is your deals. You've got to get it. And it's also a relatively infant part of the business, but
Yeah.
is that going to be something that is important to you, or
What?
have you thought about it?
I haven't, to be honest with you, given it much thought, but I would love to. I think I probably deal with it a little bit in our day-to-day business, because obviously as we bring people through and as take people on, like,
Yeah.
I'm probably, I wouldn't call it like mentoring as such, but, you know, they'll come to me, what do you think about this? How do I deal with this? How do I approach this? So I probably
It is
have.
mentoring, boss. You don't have to be called a mentor to mentor. Like, that's exactly what it is.
But I love it because I feel I can offer a lot to the
Yeah.
guys coming up. And I think, you know, it's nice to have somebody that you can go to and go, oh, I didn't really get this, or I don't understand this, or how would you approach
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
I would love when I'm not, I say when I'm not deal making, but I love deal making, so that could be forever. But I definitely would
Yeah, yeah.
love to be able to do more of it, because especially for, you know, young women, but also young men, but more so young women coming into this
Because you can
industry.
resonate with them, right?
Yeah, I really can. So I would love to at some point be able to do more of that.
You get loads of messages off the back of this thing. Maybe I'll do any deals. You'll have,
It's all
you know,
right.
forums.
So it's fine. I'll
But
get
I
through
think the
it.
benefit is as well, right? The benefit to you is you've been in that a long time and you're not old.
Yeah,
Do you know, so you can still kind of speak with people on the same level, even though you've been doing it for so many years.
yeah,
Um,
that is
which you
true.
started so young, it is, they are still going to be able to resonate with you. Like, you know, when I speak to 22-year-olds in my office and we don't speak the same language.
Yeah,
So it's a little bit different.
yeah, that is true. I have been doing it a long time, and I am not that old, but equally I am a bit blind. That is the one thing I can take. If I sit on my computer now and no glasses, it's game over. I'm like, I can't actually see a thing. And I did have that 12 years ago. I
Do
was
you wear glasses?
20. Huh?
Do you wear glasses?
Yeah, from
I've never seen you
on
with
my
glasses.
computer I do.
Ah, I see. I see. The last thing I said would be 25 minutes if I'm going over. So marketing wise,
Yeah.
you have seen the birth of, now I'm going to make you sound old like me. You have seen the birth of social media, how it changed our whole way we advertise.
Yeah.
How have you let into it? For people that don't know, if they don't follow you or anything, how have you let into it? And when was that conscious change of like, look, this is actually really way more important than we thought it was when it started?
So
And what was that transition?
So I think for me, there's been a transition. So LinkedIn for me has always been I love LinkedIn because I think it can get you. The great thing about social media is you can get in front of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people with one post, which is impossible
Yeah.
to do. You could be the best networker in the world, but you're not going to get in front of that many people just going out and meeting and networking. It's physically impossible. So I personally love LinkedIn, and we as a firm, we use it and harness it quite a lot because you can get your message out there. I think there's definitely different etiquettes. Like, I was heavy on LinkedIn. I've probably been doing my LinkedIn posts for sort of 2.5, 3 years now, which I love, and that's allowed me to build, you know, a personal brand and a brand, you know, get the brand out for the business.
The personal brand is important, isn't it?
So-
Like people buy, as it says, like, but people buy off you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure everyone even knows the name of our company, but they spot you because
But they know you.
Like,
And as well, I think you can tell a lot about a company based on knowing the people that are in it and doing the thing, because ultimately the assholes are going to go, well, I don't want to work with your company because your company.
Now also,
that.
shit managers and arseholes at the top does trickle down the business.
it
So you are
does.
right.
It does.
You meet someone who's a knobhead and you think, oh, your whole team's a knobhead.
Yeah, you do that.
It's like that.
And I think you can tell so much about the culture and the way a business runs when you look at the people that are in it and how they present themselves and what they're doing. So LinkedIn's been a thing for probably 2.5, 3 years now, which I've loved, and it's allowed me to build a really good network, and I've been able to, you know, speak to people that I would never have been able to speak to if I wasn't out on it. And then last year I set up a property Instagram, and that has been really interesting for me, because that's actually a very different audience, a very different way of, talking to people.
You still get leads through it though. You still get you get a lot of interaction on there.
Yes. So I've had some of my best clients come from Instagram, which is ironic, isn't it? Because you think these people that are super successful property guys are not going to be sat on Instagram, but they are. Yeah. And some, as I say, I've had some amazing clients from Instagram. And I found that is just a slightly different tone of voice in the way that you market. But what I've taken from it all is you just have to be your authentic self in the way you talk and what you're trying to say. Like, I could sit there every day and go, oh, we're having the most amazing week, we're doing this, doing that. But equally, there are some weeks that are a bit shit. And you think, well, I've won this week. But it's really important to be real about that, because, like I said earlier, social media shows us the best sides of people's lives. And it's really hard, I think, in today's day and age you aspire to things like that. And you go, I want to do that. I want to be that. Yeah. But a lot of these, social media influencers, they don't give you any context of what actually is.
Well, and there's also a lot of bullshit. Like, it's just it's a lot of it's made up, isn't it? Like, you see that 20. I think it's bizarre, right? That we've all got social media, and we all know it's the best piece of everyone's life. Yet everyone, I didn't think anyone is not guilty of looking and going, God, so and so's smashing it.
Yeah, comparing.
Because if someone says about me, I go, am I? They go, yeah, I see you all over LinkedIn. I'm like, what does that mean? That just means I've got to spend 20 minutes every day. Doesn't mean
yeah, you're right, though. You're so right. You're so right. And I think it's so important when you have a platform and, people are watching and reading and listening to what you're doing, that you are real about the shit as well, because it's very much there. And anybody that runs business, works in the business, is so much pressure. It never goes away. But that doesn't mean that, oh, poor me, I've got all this pressure. It's like, the good will always outweigh the bad. Yeah. But equally, we all go through it, right? And it's really important to be really honest about that. I think I always respect that from people. And I know in this industry, I've been in rooms and people going, I've done this much this year. And I've, and ultimately, especially in the last 2-3 years, when the market's been unpredictable, it's been, up and down, it's been a bit volatile. Yeah, it's been a bit shit. But if ever someone asked me, I'm like, yeah, it was hard. Like, it wasn't like a love. Like,
I think it's funny, right? As a community, we all talk about, you've got me, that's tough. You know what I mean? I'm not afraid to say when it's been really shit. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter if someone says you smash it. I also correct people on the other way when they go, oh, so and so says they're doing really well. Do they? And they're like, oh yeah, I see them all over LinkedIn. I go, well, when have they said that? Yeah. What you've assumed that because they are posted on LinkedIn, but no, they haven't actually said that. So I think they're jumping the gun. But I think we do it personally. I think our community is quite good for going, it's tough, isn't it? But then on the other flip side of that, right? I also think people want to work with successful people.
Yeah, and I get it.
So you've got to be mean about you, because I see people moaning all the time, and I'm like, tell us a deal you did. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or like, tell us stuff like. There has to be both, and it has to be a level of, because it's still marketing, isn't it? Yeah. As much as we're our true selves and that kind of thing. Don't be inauthentic, but be someone that someone wants to work with as well. And
also, feel like you're a bit excited about what you actually do. Because if all you do is mine, people go, well, I don't want to work with you because you don't even like your job, so I'm definitely not going to approach you. So it's like, it is a balance. And I say, the positivity, I'm very much about that, like, being positive, looking at the best in situations, but equally at the same time, sometimes you do just have a bad week, and that's all right, because you come back and the next week you're like, right, it's fine, it's going to be a good week this week. And people are very quick to talk about the good and maybe also not so quick to talk about the bad, but I also think that's really important because that makes you a real person.
Yeah, there is true. It's like having all 5-star reviews, isn't it? No one believes it.
No, you're like,
you did a couple of times. Say again?
So it's like, who you paid to do all these reviews? Because they're definitely can't really.
I've had a couple of 1 stars on there. They've had no contact with me, which still drives me up the wall. And you can't do anything about it, can you? You've got to let it go.
Yeah, but that's even more irritating. 4.8 contact with you. That's really irritating.
It's so true. That's how I reply. I always get, it's really strange because I've looked on my CRM system, looked on our phones, I've used our software to track where you come from, and never spoke to you before. But I'd love to know what we did wrong. Try and keep it professional then. I know that's my ex-wife. Because that's a joke. You don't listen to this. If anyone wants to get hold of you, Bex, in regards to obviously work, But also, I do think it's important, like, you know, to pay it forward to that next generation. If people want to speak to you about how you've got to where you are, what is the best way of getting hold of you?
I reckon probably either via LinkedIn or via my email, which I can obviously give you.
Yeah, I'll be on edge. Don't. Yeah, sometimes people get their phone number and don't do that.
No,
Full of
no,
nutters.
no.
Really, that's really nutters. But so and all your socials will be on our socials as well. But I have taken you over the time. But I really appreciate your time today. It's been brilliant.
Thank you for having me.
And like I said, all of your information will be on ours. So if anyone does want to get a hold of Bex, then please do. It's been really fun. Thank you for everyone listening as well. But I really appreciate your time today, Rebecca.
Thank you
Cheers.
so much.
Cheers. Bye.